Hello everyone, my name is Esther Herrera and I am an academic advisor for the College of Sciences. Today we actually have Dr. Michael Pravica, who is an associate professor of physics here at UNLV. Today we're going to go ahead and interview him on some advice on future incoming students and also current students on what they should do to be successful here at UNLV. So Dr. Pravica, what should students study? How should students study for physics?
Physics is the kind of subject, like many of the sciences, that you can't learn overnight. So it's repeated reading of the material, solving problems, checking the answers, going to tutorial sessions. For example, we have here the Physics Learning Center. So the way I learned physics is I just solved problem after problem after problem, and I started getting the problems right and understanding what I was doing. So that's really the best way. A lot of mathematics, and so being comfortable with mathematics, which means practice. Practice makes perfect.
Perfect. So what other outside activities should students consider as a physics major?
Well, as a physics major, we have a tremendous opportunities here within the physics department to do research, and we strongly encourage all of our students, particularly physics and science majors, to conduct undergraduate research, in particular because we have so many facilities. For example, our high pressure collaborative access team, many of our students get sent to Chicago. We've had students go to Canada, New York, various places doing experiments. So that's the first thing I would encourage. Also, physics, it's so difficult that we try and encourage our students as family. And this includes physics majors, chemistry majors, and so we have the Society of Physics students, so we always encourage our students to join those activities in a collaborative sense to sort of commiserate over the difficulty, but also to help each other solve problems.
Wonderful. So what skills will students learn as a physics major?
The beauty of physics is it's so challenging because it's the way the world works, and I tell my students, I didn't make it this way, it is what it is. And so you learn a lot of problem solving. That's what they really love physicists for. For us, we go to depths, literally the Planckian dimension, 10 to the minus 34 meters, all the way out to many, many parsecs going into the outer stellar space, and the dimensions of the Milky Way galaxy, and then the billions of galaxies that we already have. So physics is a very empowering subject. It's really helps people develop a deep understanding of nature, the way that the universe was put together, in matter and energy, and how to solve problems. So the kinds of skills that they learn are problem solving, analytical, using mathematics as a tool, dimensional analysis, understanding meters, kilograms, seconds. All of these are prevalent and ubiquitous all over the world, and so it really prepares them for any sort of a life in the real world that deals with the natural world.
So speaking of that, what career fields can physics majors go into after graduation?
I have many of my former classmates when I was going to undergraduate who became patent lawyers, medical doctors, presidents of corporations. Physics in particular, people like physicists because they can solve problems. They're good with data analysis, for example, financial analysis on Wall Street. So I have a lot of friends who have gone on to write books as physicists, but working on Wall Street. So I would, from my perspective, the sky's the limit. I mean, I even have a friend who was a classics PhD, classics at Boston University, but he had his undergraduate in physics. So physics, really, it prepares you to think and how to solve problems. And again, those problems can be natural, physical world based, but they may also be sociologically based or any other. So, but in particular, physics is good for anything related to science. That includes medicine, biophysics, geology, geophysics, astronomy. All of these fields, physics essentially would prepare them very well. Chemistry, biophysical chemistry. There's all sorts of engineering, applied, which to us is just applied science or applied physics. So all of these fields, physics would prepare them extremely well.
How about computational physics? I know that's
Yes.
also that's offered here at UNLV.
Yes, in this day and age, which we call the information age, and of course the computer was essentially, the transistor was invented by physicists, I had to mention that, as well as the World Wide Web. The HTML hypertext markup language was developed at CERN for physicists. And I actually, when I had been in college, I actually saw the kind of why this was so necessary. So absolutely, computational physics is a tremendous, would open many doors in terms of anything related to the information age, web design, data processing, financial analysis. So yes, definitely that would be a tremendous asset to have that degree for any job that relates to number crunching or data.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I always get questions like that from students, like, what's the difference between regular physics and computational?
Yeah,
design?
the physics and there's just some slight course differences. I think the computational physics, because it's more theoretically based, there's maybe a little bit less, one less lab course, but essentially very related,
Okay.
but more of an emphasis on the computation.
So what advice would you give new incoming physics majors?
Well, first of all, I would give to any university student, you're going to require discipline. You're going to have to study. It's going to be hitting the books. It's going to be asking questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The advantage of physics is basically the real world is based on it. So when students have questions, I always resort to real world examples, which then they can grasp and they can understand and then see how the problem relates and how to solve it. So the first thing is don't give up. We train our students to be able to solve problems, and it's okay if you spend a couple of hours on that one problem. That's what we're here for, is to guide you, but at some point you're going to have to learn how to do this on your own. And that's sort of the greatest thrill, is to be able to solve your own problems and actually understand something, garner some natural world insight based on the physics. So the first advice is don't give up, and then take the math seriously. Mathematics is our language. So I actually have a double major in physics and applied math, and it helped me, even though I'm an experimentalist, it did help me tremendously, because it's that discipline, that intellectual discipline, solving problems, how you look at variables, how you assess a phenomena, what we would say limiting behavior. All of that is very critical for physics. And so for the students that want to pursue physics, there's going to be a lot of work. It's not easy. I'm not going to pretend it's easy, but the insights are just priceless. I mean, that you gain about the way that the world works are just absolutely tremendous. So you're going to have to buckle down, but at some point you're going to get it. And then it's going to be like, oh my goodness, I see the world in a completely different way.
Now, if a student is struggling, do we offer tutoring here in the physics department?
Yes, we do. We have a physics learning center. In fact, I just got back from it. It's upstairs in room 248, actually 249, but it's one of the two rooms. Dr. Farley and I, who's my colleague, we staff it. We also occasionally, different semesters, will get more people. And we help anybody who has questions. Technically, it's for the introductory students, but the 150s, the 180 series. But if somebody comes by and they have a question, of course I'm going to try and help them. So that's the physics department tutorial, and I run it for 2 hours. Dr. Farley runs it for 2 hours, so we have that available. There is in the Academic Success Center. They have some wonderful tutors, wonderful means to help students get help, and of course. On the off time, if I'm in my office, somebody gives a quick question, I'm going to do my best to try and help them, get them on their way. So yes, we do offer all sorts of opportunities, and we encourage our students to collaborate with one another, to work on the homework. They do their own write-ups separately, but the point is to collaborate so they can kind of understand these concepts.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Pravica. Wonderful information for our physics majors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and welcome to UNLV.